Oh, Hanaki, did you know that our souls are connected by fate? What do you know? I'm Yuno Hanaki, the one and only Oiran from Mialoon. I almost forgot. I literally was about to say from Production Kawaii. Who? That bitch is dead. Damn it. You can tell how tired I am because I was literally about to say Kawaii for the first time in fucking forever. Who? I'm Yuno. Yeah, literally me. That's about to be me right this second. That was awful. Anyway, 1 second. I have to alt-tab and do some shenanigans here real quick. Fix my sizing. Anyway, hi. I'm tired today. I posted about it on Twitter a little bit ago, but I had to take medicine last night to help me get to sleep because my headache was so bad. And I am admittedly still kind of out of it. So, that's partially why that happened the way that it did. So, sorry in advance for whatever is going to be happening here. Watch it slip out 3 years in the future. I mean, if there's going to be another time where I'm very eepy and sleep deprived, I can absolutely see it happening. I can absolutely see it happening by accident. This is what I get for keeping a lot of the intro so similar to the previous one. Honestly, I played myself, but it's because I don't want to change the other stuff. I think the other stuff is good the way it is. So that's mostly why, but... Play. Still programmed. I'm fighting my programming. Ugh. I'm resisting the programming. The brainwashing. Ugh. My head. You still have a headache? No. I'm just very tired. Like, I can barely keep my eyes open, but I am fighting through it. I'm persevering. I will not let the EP take me. We have to actually get through video game. I have to stream at some point this week, you know? So, I've gotta wake myself up. I took a bit longer on the loading screen today because I was, like, rushing to get some food in my body, because maybe the food will give me enough energy to open my eyes and persevere. I'm doing my best. Anyway, I am pretty sure last time we played through Chapter 5, which means that today we should be on Chapter 6. And like I said in my tweet, again, I usually post on Twitter when I am going live. I'm hoping to get through Chapter 6 and also Chapter 7, if I can manage it. The game has a lot of lore in between chapters, which might make that a little bit difficult to do, but I have about 4 hours or so that I can commit to the stream, so I'm hoping that that will be enough to get through 2 chapters. I've been averaging like 2 hours per chapter, give or take, so I think that should be okay. We will see how it goes. How are you? I'm okay. I'm getting through it. Oh, Hanaki, by the way. If we get another side story as emotionally impacting as the last one, it's over. I mean, we do have a side story today, actually, I think. I had skipped it last time because we didn't have enough time then, but I do think we have a side story about the pretty lady at the bar. I think, because I don't think I played it. I have to double check. We will have to go back and see. So maybe we'll do that and then also Chapter 6 instead of Chapter 6 and 7. We will see. Pretty lady? Yeah, pretty lady. You'll see her. I have to get out of this room first, but you'll see her. Yeah, see? Devil's Den. I don't think we read through Devil's Den. I do not know how to navigate in this game. Dies. Wee. My beloved children, by the way. Almost as good as Yuno. Yeah, almost. But she's better. Her. And her slimy-looking boss, who I don't trust. But we haven't read this yet, so... we could go right into this. you guys want One-san voice first thing. I guess that's how we'd classify it. I refuse to use the term mommy, so One-san is the closest we will get. Okay. I think I read everything else, because it was all in that area before I could come in here. I'm pretty sure nothing else new showed up. Just in time for peak. Yeah, just in time for peak. We haven't started yet. Where is his eyes? I'm guessing he has, like, really light-colored eyes, but I'm gonna make fun of it regardless. Where are they? Actually, let me fix one more thing before I get in this. I have to reposition myself because I'm covering the screen. I wanted to, like, not hide my bone, but also that makes it hard for me to size next to chat. Whatever, this is fine. Whatever. Okay. Let's go. Devil's Den. Yippee! I do not remember the voice I gave her, but I know that it was low, so I'm gonna do my best. Stop saying mom! We don't necessarily know if she's mom yet. I also don't know who's talking. Oh boy, here we go. Him. I hate this job. Kiyoshi was angry. Samantha always found it difficult to see him like this. She felt his anger and his pain, as if it were her own. They shared the hurt, a bond exclusive to them. But anger was also a form of passion, and Samantha considered Kiyoshi's passion one of his most admirable qualities. You know I hate it here too, but I can't walk away from this job. Neither of us can. You know, the stress is going to kill us one of these days. Stress won't be the thing that kills us. Don't say that. You're right. I'm sorry. I love you. I love you too. Stay safe. Samantha sat alone, nursing a glass of gin. Going by the title, have you not been enjoying this? Oh no, I've been enjoying it. I'm just saying I was talking to a friend about where I was, to explain the title, I guess. I talked to a friend about where I was, and they were like, oh, it picks up after chapter 5, and I was like, oh, we just finished that. Nice. But it'll apparently start picking up once we get through the main story. This is a side story, though, so the last side story we did, really good. We'll see if this one is just as good. You meet in mood? Yes. The terminal had a warm atmosphere, a far cry from the immaculate, glitzy pub-holic where she'd spent just shy of 6 months as a cocktail waitress. In fact, there was almost nothing in this cafe reminiscent of pub-holic, which made it a perfect place to brood, with precious few reminders of her previous gig. There were, of course, the smells. She caught lingering scents as she leaned upon the spirit-stained bar, each one like a stain upon her own memory, a scar that would never heal. Not that she hadn't been left scarred by other jobs, but she resented the invisible stains left on her psyche by pubholic, the kind she couldn't hide with concealer and long sleeves. Still, there were a few pleasant memories buried beneath the pain. Memories of him. You want me to just leave the bottle here? No, I need to feel that tiny bit of shame when I ask for a refill. No shame in it. Well, there ought to be. Because without it, I'd hit the bottom of that bottle pretty fast. You want me to stop you? Otherwise you'll lose that shame soon enough. I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. Samantha liked Maddie. Part of it was the natural kinship she had come to feel for anyone whose profession involved pouring a drink. But Samantha also appreciated Maddie's extremely high level of disinterest in what was going on around her. She could tell from Maddie's eyes that she wasn't all there. Her attention was split between her patrons and some problem she was puzzling together in her head. In Samantha's opinion, patrons always got more attention than they deserved, and it seemed that Maddie agreed. They were perfectly content in their own solitude. Samantha? Is that you? Gasp. Also, this outfit... She's crazy. What are those? Shoes, apparently. Samantha, I'd like to talk to you. Actually, this concerns the other girls, too. Call them over, won't you? Nakamoto made the suggestion as if it had just occurred to him, but it was clear he didn't intend this to be a private conversation. The other servers were within earshot, close enough to hear Nakamoto's request. But he clearly wanted Samantha to beckon them over. She indulged him with the ritual of clapping her hands and calling out. Clara? Iris? Michelle? Business time. As Samantha looked across the table at Nakamoto, she realized that she stood between Nakamoto and the other girls like a protector, a shield. The role fitted her fine, and the other girls seemed grateful for it. But Samantha couldn't help but feel that this was exactly what Nakamoto wanted. Though he was one man facing 4 women, it felt to Samantha that their numbers were evenly matched. The women standing behind Samantha were not participants. They were mere bystanders. He evidently derived a lot of satisfaction from the fact he never had to raise his voice. He had his subordinates to do that for him. Exemplary work tonight. Mr. Canavan was very impressed. You girls did your job with precision and respect. I'd expect nothing less. That deserves a bonus, don't you think? He reached into his breast pocket and pulled out 4 10,000 yen notes, fanning the bills out on an ashtray in front of him. There is only one problem. At the end of the meal, Mr. Canavan suggested that Clara give him a kiss. He got the impression she didn't enjoy it much. Her reaction soured the mood. Perhaps it's not her fault, but we are in the service industry. Our one job is to make clients happy. Samantha locked eyes with Nakamoto, willing him to concentrate his wrath entirely on her and away from the younger, inexperienced girl behind her. Based on that, do you think she should receive this 10,000 yen bonus? Samantha's heart broke for Clara. That she would be complicit in Nakamoto's humiliation of her filled her with guilt, but she kept a steely expression. As much as it bothered her to capitulate, Samantha knew that fighting with Nakamoto would only humiliate Clara further. So she gave the answer he wanted. No, she shouldn't receive the bonus. She knew how Nakamoto's little rituals worked, and she wasn't going to rock the boat. That could only make it worse for all of them. Is that so? Well, Samantha, if that's what you believe. Samantha watched as Nakamoto set the edge of one of the bills alight. The fire rapidly spread until all 4 bills were engulfed. Samantha watched Nakamoto's smiling face through the dancing flames. This was a genuine smile. This was the part he enjoyed. My, what a terrible accident. You see, I only lit Clara's bill, but now everything has been reduced to ash. It's like service, you see. The rest of you provided perfect service for the entirety of the night. But it takes only one small mistake to ruin the entire experience for the client. What one of you does reflects on all of you, on this entire organization. This deserves punishment, don't you think? Then punish me. I was in charge of planning the event. Any shortcomings during the event are a reflection on my leadership. I take full responsibility. Samantha steeled herself for the slap she knew was coming. She would not flinch. But the slap never came. It took all of Samantha's willpower to not shudder at his caress. The slap would have hurt less to endure. You're right. You should take responsibility. Punish her. Clara looked up at Samantha, eyes wet with unshed tears. Samantha's expression softened, and she tried to convey all the sympathy and compassion she could as she mouthed the words. I'm sorry. It's okay. I looked away for 10 seconds and now Samantha's half naked. Outfit she wore at her previous employer, I guess? Question mark? It's hard to tell, it's dark in there. Oh geez, it's the same freaking guy. Who could have guessed? Mr. Nakamoto. I'm surprised to see you here. Shall I, What can I get for you? She knows what I drink. He'll have a Manhattan. Do you have habits? Of course. This is kind of a long shot, but do you have hibiki? I reckon so, yeah. Let me go check in the back. Thanks, cutie. Charming girl. Nakamoto had a habit of describing people as he wanted them to be, rather than as they were. As if he thought calling a server charming were enough to make her want to live up to the description. Charming, but definitely not your type. How would you know? For one thing, she's not subservient enough for your tastes. Unlike you, Samantha? I'm surprised you remember my name. You wound me. You know I always liked all of the girls at the bar. Yes, you liked us all so much you gave us the same pet name. I always figured honey was just a more affectionate way of saying, hey, you. Hi-yo? As in, hey, you over there. Ah. Maybe you are right. But you were always my favorite, Samantha. Well, one of my favorites. She wasn't sure if that was meant to be a compliment. Given that Nakamoto seemed to prefer girls too inexperienced to avoid his advances, the implication she might be a favorite struck Samantha as insulting. You always did like the oblivious ones. Ah, Samantha, you know how the clan is. We wouldn't have hired you if I were a more sophisticated girl. No. Nakamoto seemed to think he was being subtle, but he was never very good at it. I presume the fact that none of the servers spoke Japanese wasn't an accident. What is the point in denying it now? Of course you understand now all that was going on. You only paid in cash. Half your men showed tattoos every time they rolled up their sleeves. Of course I knew what was going on. But surely you didn't expect. I always knew it was a possibility. But nobody could have anticipated things happening like they did. It was never my intention. I tried to do the right thing. My intentions were good. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Yakuza? Yeah, I think they're implying Yakuza. Or at least trying to anyway. Samantha glanced again at the white van parked across the road from the bar, then turned away to continue serving, barely noticing the man approaching the bar. A moment later, she tensed up and did a double take. There's something about the way the man walked. Men coming to see Nakamoto were always trembling, afraid. He looked too confident for a man about to talk to an infamous crime boss. That and the white van. It had been sitting there for the past 2 hours, and yet she hadn't seen anyone come out of the van the whole time. She turned toward the door as the man came in and realized he was suddenly flanked by several men on either side. Their chests were too thick for their stature, the kind of bulk that came from Kevlar under suit jackets. Nobody move. Samantha found herself looking at a badge, a handgun, and several men holding what looked like military-grade submachine guns. Where's Kiryu? Yeah, where's Kiryu? He'd set this shit up real quick. Taro Nakamoto, we have a warrant for your arrest. I am Taro Nakamoto. Please, no need for the big guns. You're frightening them. He gestured to the cocktail waitresses huddled behind the bar. Nakamoto stepped forward. He intended to turn himself in. His men watched in disbelief, but one by one they dropped their guns and held their empty hands up. Except for one. He was standing near the door, his right hand hovering at his hip. Gun! Same. The young gangster who had drawn the gun crumpled as several gunshots rang out from the back of the room, another one of Nakamoto's henchmen. Samantha hit the floor, crawling through the shattered fragments of the drinks she dropped moments ago. The roaring gunfire was so loud it physically hurt her ears. Within seconds, all she could hear was ringing. She kept crawling, trying to avoid the gunfire and stampeding crowd, but she found herself pressed against the side of the bar. Samantha looked up and made eye contact with Nakamoto, just seconds before the bullets began to tear him apart. He cratered to the floor, and Samantha found herself face to face with the corpse. As her consciousness faded, two words escaped her lips. Fucking Yakuza. Of course you didn't mean for it to go down the way that it did. Nobody gets out of bed in the morning thinking, let's die today. I get up every morning prepared to die. But it is unfair of me to expect everyone around me to do the same. I'm sorry that you had to become involved. I knew what I was getting into. You never coerced me. I made the decision to be there. I made that decision every night I took those envelopes of money home with me. Don't be absurd. It was my fault entirely. There is no denying that. You weren't the one who pulled a gun. Yes, but my man did, and his actions reflect on me. How can I claim to be the boss if I can't accept that? Regardless of who's to blame, we both ended up here. Yes, I suppose it is best to enjoy our time here while we still can. Samantha thought to herself that if her goal was to best enjoy her remaining time here, the first thing to do would be to remove herself from Nakamoto's vicinity. Honestly, real. She's like, get me the fuck away from this man. Honestly, understandable. Even after just the few scenes that I have seen of him, I'm already sick of his shit. Goodbye, sir. Her distaste for the man had far less to do with the day they were discussing than the months leading up to it. In fact, the way Nakamoto had handled the situation was one of the most decent things he'd ever done, insofar as a crime boss's behavior could be considered decent. Samantha had spent enough time pretending I love learning how to read. Samantha had spent enough time pretending she didn't mind working under him in the past that navigating this conversation took little effort. Now there was nothing that made her feel bound to keep talking to the man. No sense of obligation to keep up appearances. There was only one thing keeping her in that seat, listening to Nakamoto. A need for answers. That is a hard sentence to word around. Yeah, that too. It was hard to read. My brain, also because I am very sleepy, words difficult. I'm doing my best. Sorry, didn't find any hibiki back there. Found some Shibui Maru, though, so that's what you're getting. What a treat. Thank you, Miss... Maddie. Thank you, Miss Maddie. I drink these slow, but I hope you'll have another ready by the time I finish this one. You know, I forbade my men to drink our rival's whiskey. For me to drink it myself would be hypocritical. And yet, here you are. Nobody's watching you, so I don't think you have to worry about that now. Except for you. Well, I won't tell. And besides, you are the boss. In that case, perhaps there are pleasures which we are only allowed to enjoy in death. Sip, sip. It may be my deceased condition that makes it so, but I would be a liar to claim this isn't the best drink I've ever had. Forbidden fruit is always the sweetest. Had I tasted this drink years ago, perhaps we could have ended our turf war on more amicable terms. Is this the in-between? Yes and no. It does exist within actual, like, real-world Australia, but it also has the ability to be an in-between place for spirits who have just recently died. They can stay there for 48 hours, I believe, until they are forced to move on. Like, it starts feeling more and more uncomfortable the more they try to force themselves to stay. The only way to feasibly stay longer is if you absorb other people's time. Like, if you take time from other dead spirits, basically. There's, like, a whole subplot in the main story about how one of the main characters has basically stayed essentially immortal because he keeps taking time from people. So, yeah. It is kind of the in-between, but it's also kind of not. Only saw the side story at the train station? Yeah. Yeah, it's a sort of purgatory, but it's a temporary one. It's meant to be more of an in-between place. And, like, magic is real because there's, like, a whole subsect of magic that Maddie studies to get time from people and stuff. Yeah, regular people can also show up. That's why in the case of the first side story, we had a character who was living talking to someone that he thought might be a dead person, especially when cancer reveal. He absolutely thought that she was dead. That's why it was a nice surprise at the end when we found out that she was okay. They were both alive. Whoopee! Still a really good story, by the way. Anyways. I find it hard to resent men who make such fine whiskey. He started laughing, and Samantha joined him, more out of practiced reflex than shared mirth. Nakamoto placed his hand on her leg. She didn't flinch, but she looked at him with just the right amount of withering contempt to make him withdraw his hand. You're a very powerful woman. From the lips of the notorious Yakuza boss to the ears of the tittering cocktail waitress. You have an aura about you. Even when you served drinks, you had a dominant energy. Everyone in the room always respected you. I wanted to make you mine. So why didn't you? Because if I had taken you, I would have destroyed the very thing I admired about you. I wanted you to come to me willingly. And you thought I would? If I am to be honest, yes. You seemed like the type of woman who would be drawn to men of power. I don't particularly find power that impressive when it's measured in number of dollars laundered. Power, not money. You do crave power. I could always see it in your eyes. And yet somehow I managed to resist your charms. Nakamoto smiled at Samantha, having completely missed the cutting sarcasm of her remark. Besides, I didn't move to the city expecting to find love, especially not among the ranks of a crime syndicate. No, but you found it anyway. You're right. What was his name? You know his name. Yes, but I want to hear you say it. Kiyoshi. Please do not tell me he was the one who started the pew 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 in the club. I will cry. I'll cry real tears. Tears running down my face. Oh, Hanaki. Sorry you had to join while I'm talking about the odds of me crying with this story, but it really do be like that sometimes. Kiyoshi, what's wrong, baby? Don't worry. Your heart is beating so fast. Something's bothering you. You know how I am. My heart always starts racing whenever I'm in bed with a beautiful woman. Stop it. What's really happening? I shouldn't tell you. And we shouldn't be together right now. That hasn't stopped us. It's Nakamoto-san. He has eyes for you. You think I don't know that? Anyone can tell by looking at him. I'm worried that he'll try to take you away from me. I won't let him. I can look out for myself. That is what bothers me. One day Nakamoto will try to take you, and you won't let him. Nakamoto does not take kindly to being snubbed. Let me deal with that. I hate that man. Shh, don't say that. Why shouldn't I say it? I hate him. Anyone could be listening. If the walls have ears, then let them hear. How can you stand it? Serving him every day from under his oppressive thumb. I do it the same way you do. One day at a time. My father told me Nakamoto was a despicable man. I should have listened to him. I feel it deep in my soul, Samantha. If we stay here, bad things will start to happen. We're good at surviving bad things. Not like this. There are some things you can't survive. There's some things you need to run away from. You know we can't do that. There may be a way. What are you saying? Samantha, before I tell you, I need to know. Will you come with me? What are you planning? Oh, hello. The intimacy. Tell me first. If I do this, we can never come back to this city. Will you come with me? Will you leave them behind? Nakamoto is not the kind of man that you can simply walk away from. He will be when I'm done. Samantha, tell me now. Will you come with me? I can't. Of course you can. The question is, will you? Kiyoshi. His name was Kiyoshi. I love how all of you are peeking like, whoa, crazy. Also, his name was. That's great. That bodes well for sure. Very cool. You're not like the others. Samantha regarded the young, cocksure man standing before her. One of Nakamoto's men. She knew his name was Kiyoshi. Samantha, of course, had made a point of memorizing the names of all of the men who worked under Nakamoto. But she was aware admitting she knew who he was would be taken as a sign of flattery, so she played dumb. I'm sorry, you're one of Nakamoto's men, right? Why do you do that? Do what? Play dumb. You know that I'm one of Nakamoto's men. You know my name. Not everyone knows your name. You're right. In fact, very few people do. I am not as memorable as some of my peers. But you remember my name regardless. You know everyone else by name. There's not a chance that you don't know who I am. I'm forgetful. Funny, you always seem to remember people's names when it's important. What are you saying? I'm saying that you seem to enjoy privately embarrassing Nakamoto's men while having the good sense to never publicly humiliate them. I'm not bothered by it if that's what you're wondering. But you're a lot more clever than you allow others to believe. That makes two of us. She was beginning to think that the soft-spoken Kiyoshi was a lot more attentive than any of Nakamoto's henchmen were, and that made her uneasy. But she knew that he had already gotten whatever he wanted from this conversation. We're not so different, you and I. I disagree. She didn't see the need to list the various ways in which they differed in both station and demeanor. Perhaps you're right. You have the courage to show the men how little you care for them. I lack that courage. But it's clear that you and I both feel the same way about them. Either way, you're not like the others. I was wondering if you'd ever notice. Not them flirting. I always did like Kiyoshi. He always bowed when he needed to. He always said the right things. But he showed contempt with every bow, every action. He had a way of insulting you even as he delivered a compliment, very against what I usually look for in my men. But he had courage, determination. Moxie. I can see why a woman like you would be attracted to him. I always worried about him, but I knew that he was destined to do great things. Who knows? Perhaps one day he could replace me. Who will replace you? Who can say? Many of my lieutenants were there that day, my right and left hands. In all the time that she had known him, Nakamoto had never been a man to lean. He always stood stiff as a board, his spine so rigid that it seemed he was afraid that it would snap if he allowed it to bend, even in the slightest. That rigid posture, along with his platform heels, allowed Nakamoto to pass for several inches taller than he really was. Samantha had suspected that it was his attempt to make himself seem more physically imposing. But to her, it always had the opposite effect, making him appear comically uncomfortable in his own body. Then again, Nakamoto was never a man who had coveted luxury for himself, so perhaps his self-inflicted discomfort was in character. And that made his physical relaxation so unsettling. This was a side of Nakamoto she had never seen, but perhaps this side would be willing to talk. This guy fits little man syndrome to a T. Little man syndrome? That's funny. How many people do you suppose died in that pub? Perhaps a better question would be who managed to survive. Perhaps they are just like us, waiting to walk through that door. Perhaps that would be a better fate for them. Any who survived will surely be arrested. After all, if I had been arrested, I would not be here enjoying this very fine whiskey. Maybe they escaped. I doubt that very much. Yakuza do many things. Running is not one of them. Besides, have you seen Kojiri? That man is too fat to outrun anyone. Samantha, you don't have to keep pretending. I know that you don't like me. My men always told me that it was just your Western manner of flirting, that you were teasing, playing at being hard to get. But I know contempt when I see it. You think I hold you in contempt? No, I was speaking of the men who offered me false flattery. You don't like me. But who can blame you? It is the nature of hierarchy. Hatred for the organization is always directed upward. It is a healthy and natural thing, is it not? Better to resent the people above you than to resent the people working next to you. It is, in a way, a powerful tool for bonding. It is something that you all went through together, and that made you closer, did it not? That is one way to explain trauma bonding, I suppose. I never really became close friends with any of the other girls. No, I thought not. But I wasn't talking about them. You know who I am talking about. Nakamoto's part of a dying generation. I'm pretty sure that's how all generations work. They have to die sometime. They make room for new generations. This generation of Yakuza will not die out. It will be chased out. It is a slow-moving organization. Everything about it from the inside out is based on an old way of doing things that is rapidly becoming not only outdated, but painful to look at. The premise of a clan is founded on the expectation that all of its members will be members for life, bound to each other and the organization. Death is the only solution. Kiyoshi, you don't mean to... This whole organization needs to die, though it'll take 10 years of my life along with it. It has given me something that I hate, and yet I can't bring myself to give it up. In a way, it has become a part of me. You are not your job. Nakamoto would disagree. So would my parents, including my uncle, who is a police. Things are different for you, but where I'm from, this is true of any sort of institution or organization. The first 10 or 20 years that you spend in the organization are not truly spent doing anything of substance. The purpose of your first decades is training you to become a member of the clan. Sounds like an extensive training program. I didn't realize that Yakuza valued training and education so highly. It is not a training program as you might imagine it. Most of it is being subjected to artificial hardships to demonstrate that you are trustworthy and loyal to the clan. Many of these hardships are designed to be humiliating or otherwise damaging. This is not an overlooked flaw of the initiation process. It is intentionally that way by design. Like hazing. Hazing? It's a practice for initiating people into social groups. It's not just a Yakuza thing, I assure you. You do this in your home country? I was hazed several times in college. Sororities, other honor societies, that sort of thing. Ah. Organizations addicted to the old ways of doing things. I suppose so. Hazing is a torch passed on from one generation to the next. Hazing, but the kind that involves losing fingers. True. And I suppose the upside is that you get a bunch of loyal foot soldiers. No. The upside is that you get a large number of people who will only perpetuate the institution, complete with all its flaws. You need to find a way to clear the ranks. Burn it all to the ground. Start from scratch. Better yet, burn it all to the ground and leave it smoldering. I wish I could. And yet, there's something deep in me that would hate to see it so. I know how much you hate Nakamoto. But you see, I don't. Even if I want to hate him, I cannot. The kind of loyalty that is built up over many years, it does not go away simply because you wish it to. That is the insidious thing about this organization. It changes you, even as you realize what it is doing to you, even as you hate it. For me to say that I hate Nakamoto would be the same as saying that I hate what I've become. And that is not something I say easily, even though it may be true. Little smooch. They smooched! You are not like Nakamoto. I wish what you say was true. You're right. Kiyoshi hated you. Did he tell you that? Samantha didn't bother to answer Nakamoto's question. She hated rhetorical questions with a passion. Several moments of silence later, she noticed Nakamoto fidgeting. Nakamoto was a man who carried himself with an undue amount of pomp, and it was not easy to make a man that straight-laced fidget. She took a certain amount of pleasure from his visible discomfort. The thought occurred to her that the way she tried to get a certain reaction from Nakamoto was not so different from his habit of dominating conversations. But she justified this to herself easily. The worst thing about Nakamoto was that he was a poor steward of power. He diminished the power of others because he enjoyed taking it for himself, and he correctly perceived it as being zero-sum. Samantha didn't crave power, but she very much enjoyed seeing Nakamoto being brought down a few notches, even if only for a moment. Of course he told you all the ways he despised me and my old ways. That is how every passionate relationship begins, is it not? The strongest bonds are built not out of mutual respect, but out of a shared hatred for something or someone. So of course he would pick me as the object of ire to win you over. Kiyoshi was a very shrewd man. He always had a talent for getting exactly what he wanted. You don't know the first thing about what kind of man Kiyoshi was. He's far more dangerous than he looks. Are they watching anime? I don't carry a gun. Too dangerous. Not when you know how to use one. I don't mean dangerous to safety. Dangerous to get caught with. Guaranteed jail time on conviction. And yet somehow all your friends seem to deal with it. Colleagues, not friends. So how come they bear the risk of getting caught with a firearm and you don't? I need to stay clean. The clan has many properties in my name. If I were caught carrying a firearm, it would defeat the purpose. I didn't realize that you had an ownership stake in the clan. Technically I do, but do you think that I actually see any of the money that passes through my establishments? They use my name, but I have no power. And if you ever try to leave... Yes. Now you understand why things are so complicated. Even if I leave, I will still carry the taint of association. There's no avoiding it. Why you? Why not do it under someone else's name? I may have lied to you before. I told you, I don't carry a gun because there are many properties under my name. They needed someone who looked squeaky clean. Squeaky clean? Someone with a spotless record. Perfect. Free of imperfections. That's me, Mr. Spotless. Though I don't think that anyone in the clan would describe me that way. I'm actually very far from perfect. I am just the man that they needed. I think you're what I need, too. What does that mean? You may not be perfect, but you're what I'm looking for right now. You don't want to be tied up with me. I can't endure these circumstances. How could I expect you to do the same? You need to escape. It's too late for me, but not for you. It's not too late. I have nowhere to turn to. I have been thinking of going to the police. Kiyoshi looked at her with pained eyes, unable to say anything more. Finally, Samantha spoke up. Are you going to? No deal. They would not be able to make a deal without me agreeing to testify against him. And that is something I cannot do, not without fearing for my own life. No matter where Nakamoto is, he will find me. Even dead, his ghost would haunt me. My only option is to disappear. My own crimes are far too great to be forgiven, even if I do betray Nakamoto. And besides, you cannot trust the police. If there is even one corrupt officer who allows my name to escape. Nakamoto has one principle and one principle alone. Dead men can't talk. There are always more options. You're right. I could inform the police anonymously. Send them to where they can confront one of Nakamoto's deals directly. I know when he's having one of his business meetings. but it won't be pretty. You're the only person I can tell this to. Because when the police finally catch up with him, people will die. And I don't want you anywhere near there when that happens. Can you promise me this? Kiyoshi, I need to tell you something. You can't go to the police. Tell me why I shouldn't. You'll ruin everything. This life is already ruined. The best I can hope for now is a chance at atonement. This may not make things better, but I cannot think of how they would become any worse with me continuing to serve under that... Please, Kiyoshi. I have a plan to subvert Nakamoto. All the more reason for me to go to the police. I can't allow you to be the one to run into harm's way. You don't understand. This will work. You think you're the first one to think about taking Nakamoto down? People much stronger than you, people much more well-connected than you have tried it before. How could you possibly succeed where they have failed? Okay. Here we go. Kiyoshi, you are right. I am not like the others. There's something very different about me. Tell me. Well, if you believe that you know Kiyoshi better than I do, you're welcome to think it. Though I don't see how that could possibly be the case. I have spent more than a decade with the man. He was never just a servant to me. Not even close. The boss must hold the respect of his men. It is a powerful bond. Nakamoto sounded frustrated, but his voice grew increasingly soft. Do you believe that your months-long fling with him really meant more than that? Do you really have the ability to look into a man's eyes, to peer into his soul, and sense his true desires and motives? You are truly a fool if you believe this. Samantha found herself taken aback by Nakamoto's aggressive speech. For a moment, she thought that perhaps Nakamoto was right, that she didn't have the soul read on him. But as the moment passed, she came to an infuriating realization. Nakamoto pitied her. Do not underestimate me. As she felt the words leaving her lips, she found herself instantly regretting it. There was no faster way to lose respect than to demand it like a petulant child. She appeared weak and desperate, traits she saw mirrored in the man sitting across from her. Nakamoto wanted only to toy with her. She needed a punch to throw him off guard, something unexpected. She needed to tell the truth. I hate you. It does not surprise me to hear that you feel that way. It does, however, surprise me to hear you say it out loud. I don't think you understand the extent of it. I detest you. Not for what you did to me, but for what you did to everyone who worked under me. If you hate me so much, why don't you just kill me? You are already dead. You never understood, but I did. Every single word you spoke in every single one of your business meetings. I wasn't the dumb little American girl you thought I was. Part of me always thought that a girl like you seemed too sophisticated to be a simple drink server. So, who are you reporting to? Police? Give yourself more credit. It's not just the cops who've got their eyes on you. And give me some more credit. I am no mere informant. So what are you? CIA. Part of a 2-year investigation. So, you're out to get me from the start, were you? Are you happy that you finally brought me down? Happy that you put me in a body bag? It was a job. I did my duty. I'm sure that as a career criminal you can relate. You don't always get to do the thing you want to do. Sometimes you do the thing that has to be done. So, everything went all according to your plan.
Not all according to plan. The part where bullets started flying and I ended up here, that definitely wasn't part of the plan. I expected that you'd try to end things peacefully. Well, I guess things went wrong for both of us. And here we are, doomed to enjoy the same fate. Well, since you've been so generous in sharing your secret with me, I suppose I should respond in kind. Samantha. I'm not Nakamoto. Samantha sat stunned. She had on occasion considered the possibility that Nakamoto might merely be a figurehead, that he might just be a middle manager in a larger organization. But all of the important meetings had always taken place at Pubholic. She hadn't been party to every discussion or meeting, but she knew it was the place where decisions were made. If the man sitting in front of her wasn't the true boss, then it must have been someone else in that room. I'm his henchman. I exist solely for one purpose. For the day that someone tries to kill Nakamoto, or worse, they will get me instead. I assure you that the real boss is safe and sound by now. He's probably on a boat out of the country as we speak. She knew that the real ringleader must have been one of the men who sat in the meetings at Pubholic. Every face she had recognized had been there the day of the CIA crackdown. It had been scheduled during a meeting. Even if Nakamoto wasn't the true ringleader, the ringleader by now had been arrested, if not one of the men shot to death. All of your men were there when the police showed up. None could have escaped arrest, or worse. There was one who was absent. Nakamoto. Sorry, I guess I shouldn't call you that. Do you have a real name? I suppose there's no harm in discussing it now. My name is Kiyoshi. Yes, I stepped into Nakamoto's shoes, and in turn, he stepped into mine. A simple switcheroo. How embarrassing for you. So that means the real Nakamoto. For me to say that I hate Nakamoto would be the same as saying that I hate what I've become. The real Nakamoto. Yes, your lover boy was really the big villain you hoped to take down. Samantha reeled. Physical fatigue, anxiety, panic. These were the things she had learned to stave off long ago. Nakamoto wasn't sharp enough to realize just how rare it was for Samantha to find herself dizzied like this, but he did know that he had gotten a reaction out of her. You know you're probably dead right now because of him. I bet that kid in the bar pulled the gun because the real Nakamoto told him to. You may be right. Perhaps he left me to die. But then, that is my job as a decoy. To be ready to die when the boss requires it. In fact, he warned me it might be happening. I spoke with him before. He told me you gave him immunity. Mr. Big Bad, never to see trial. That's not how it works. He can still be charged. But who will charge him? Why would they charge a small fry like Kiyoshi? As far as everyone is concerned, the big bad boss is now dead. Most of the potential witnesses too, I imagine. One of Nakamoto's greatest strengths was his ability to project a veneer of stoicism. He was always the sort of man that expressed his power subtly, never flexing, always taking pride and never raising his voice. But in this moment he was reveling. He had nothing to gain and nothing to hide, and he was clearly enjoying watching Samantha squirm. She saw no reason to continue obliging him. Samantha didn't bother to look behind her to see if he was following. He desperately wanted to continue enjoying his victory, and Samantha wasn't turning around to give it to him. Samantha. By calling out to her, it was practically an admission of defeat on his part. He needed her to see that he was victorious in order to enjoy the moment. A small, petty man, obsessed with status. So obsessed that in the pursuit of it, he had given up the only remaining standing he had left. And so, Samantha couldn't resist succumbing to the same temptation. You have lost everything. The one you thought you could trust betrayed you, and no one will be around to avenge the betrayal. No one outside this place will ever know of it. I know of at least one person who will. Oh? Kiyoshi. Did I ever say I was dead? Thanks for the tip about Nakamoto. I'm sure he'll never believe how I found out about his identity. What was it he said to me? The dead can't talk. Maybe he needs to rethink that. She started to turn around, but the one thing that stopped her was the look in his eye. The look of someone who was finally unhinged and realized that he truly had nothing left to lose, not even his own dignity. It was the look of a man who was ready to fight. Samantha had spent 6 months working under the man she knew as Nakamoto, observing him as he did business with myriad parties. Before, she thought she knew what it meant to see him angry in the moments when he flexed his power over his underlings. She thought she knew what a wrathful Nakamoto looked like. She realized now that the anger she'd seen from him previously was simply cold, calculated malice. This was rage. He came at her with a flailing, amateurish punch. His arms were longer than hers, but she'd trained for this. Samantha drove her fist into his chest. Against a being of flesh and blood, this would be an instant knockout. But Nakamoto didn't even register the hit. Samantha watched as he lunged downward, his hands reaching toward her throat, waiting for the last possible moment to kick him away. Samantha heard an unpleasant crunch as his hand bore the weight of his fall. A crunch, but no howl of pain.
Terrible punching technique. Well, she did say it was an amateurish punch. And her technique would have worked if it wasn't for the fact that he is a specter and technically cannot feel pain. He was already up, his hand quickly erasing any sign that it had sustained the fall. You! It was only the inertia of her kick that had forced him back, and once he regained his footing, he came at her again. Samantha couldn't stop Nakamoto in hand-to-hand combat. The cafe's enchantments kept its customers' bodies intact as best it could. But, as with everything that stood in Samantha's way, she'd found a workaround. She drew her piece, a Pieta revolver with a wooden grip. Her gun's brass construction recalled an era when steel was scarce and superstition, and fear of ghosts was anything but. It was no coincidence, then, that the black powder weaponry of the 19th century was perfectly built for causing real, tangible harm to wayward spirits. She let out a yell and pushed the weapon into his chest, unloading the shot. By the time the .44 round passed through him, his body was already stitching itself back together. But the black powder from the gun's discharge remained inside him. He howled in pain as his body tried to reconstitute itself around his fatal chest wound. His flesh was in a constant war of trying to warp itself to cover the hole, and flinching away from the sulfur powder that was beginning to seep deeper and deeper into his body. Ow! Nakamoto. No. Kiyoshi. Did you think we met here by accident? Did you think I hadn't come here prepared?
tumbled to the ground and rolled over on his side, trying to get up on his one good leg. You styled yourself a Prince of Thieves. He fell to the ground in a slump, raised his one good arm and reached out to her like an animated corpse, trying to take the living with him. But now you'll die like a dog. Goodbye, Kiyoshi. Ugh. Go to hell. I'm done. You need any materials extracted? Just my 44. I'm taking a commercial flight out. Why can't you just use standard equipment like the rest of us? Tell me which part of my job description includes the word standard. Abnormal jobs call for abnormal equipment. Life would be easier if you didn't have such specific taste in guns. Believe me, nothing about this is about my taste in guns. This thing is a brute of a weapon. Poor construction, nearly impossible to grip, and a recoil shield that's not worth a damn. It's the only gun that makes you feel like your hands are somehow too big and too small at the same time. It bucks like a motherfucker, it's single action so you have to flip the hammer with every shot, and it was on the wrong side of one of the bloodiest wars in world history. I hate this gun. So I use it. It carries the stink of slave owners and sulfur with it everywhere it goes. I hate it. Spirits hate it even more. Like oil and water. More like a fatal allergic reaction. If you ever need to bring a walker to its knees, bring a black powder revolver. I think I'll leave that to you. I have some important information about the informant. Kiyoshi? Yes, but that's not his real name. I would have figured. Do you know where he is? Did someone get to him? What? He somehow vanished off our radar this morning. I was worried someone had taken him out. He disappeared? Yes. Did Nakamoto tell you anything about that? Hello. No, everything went exactly as planned. Just needed to get rid of some dead wood. No, I'm working on something new. Rebuilding. Outwitted? Looks like she got played in the end. He didn't truly love her. Dun dun dun. Damn, that's crazy. Not as satisfying as the last one. I think because this one didn't have a happy ending. Didn't end up as sad as it could have. Yeah, it wasn't sad. She both won and lost. Poor girl. This game is so good at storytelling. It is quite good at what it does, that's for sure. Alright, give me a second to sip some water here. Having to carry the smoky voice for so long was a little bit rough. Big sippa. Yeah, big sippa. I needed so much water. I think I'm okay, though.
The writer also has nice taste in guns. Yeah, I saw you nerding out about the gun in there. They've done some decent writing. Some of the short stories, as like the in-between lore bits, there was like some talk about different types of guns and like gunfights and stuff. So I would agree, they do seem to have, at the very least, if they don't care about guns, they at least know how to do their research. We can give them that much. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, we should be on to chapter 6. We will see. I'm gonna try to get through this one. We're making decent time, actually, so there's a chance that I'll be able to get through even more. But we'll see. That face. Yeah, you can tell she's definitely customer service. Fake smiling. As expected of our girl. Okay. Matao. Oh no, his head hurty. Hello? Ah, what was that? I said, can I get 2 lattes? Yeah, sure thing. You want those takeaway or not? For here, please. Go take a seat. I'll bring it over. Ah, crap. You right, mate? Yeah, all good. I should really get Ashley to do this. Sorry, what? Nothing. Just talking to myself. Alright. Where's the broom? Ashley! Where's the broom? Ashley! I need a hand. Come help me. Come on, I've got to find a broom. Atta girl. I'll have a croissant. Same. Those croissants did look kind of good. Hey, are any of your friends around? Probably. What? When did you teach them to do that? I didn't. That one's just weird. Uh-huh. How are you doing, kiddo? Sleep deprivation's kicking in. Sometimes I feel like nobody ever sleeps in this cafe. Except Kishan. He has slept a lot while he's been here, hasn't he? It's because you keep getting him drunk. What? I haven't done that once. Not you. I mean... you! So, not me at all, but Maddie and Ned. Gotcha. Those brigands. You're telling me. How's Maddie doing? Well... she's just doing some alchemy downstairs. Don't worry about her. Sorry, not alchemy, necromancy. We're finally at the necro part of the Necrobarista. Maybe, question mark. How close are we to being done? Fairly close. I'm not super worried about getting it done without Ashley either. Rad. Anyway, what were you saying? Oh, just that I think I understand everything now. And that's all. Well, I appreciate your restraint in not generously supplying me with your moral take on it. No worries. Don't want to be that guy. Dang, I'm actually gonna miss you once you're gone. Wow, are those some honest feelings coming from you?
Doth thy icy facade crack? Facade. Does Maddie seem like the kind of person who hides behind a mask? No, only when she's talking to customers. Alive customers. The correct word there is dust, and please don't make me take it back. I guess you really got into the whole boatman of the river Styx thing, huh? Styx. If you ever find yourself on the river Styx, be sure to give the boatman or the barista a friendly wave. Is that what you think I am? Kind of, yeah. Interesting. Do you not feel that way? I don't know if the metaphor is that accurate, but... I can see why you'd draw parallels, but this place serves more as... an entrance? You don't have to come here on your way to the next place, but it's on the route for sure. He made her walk away in slow motion. Yeah, he did that. That's his power. Just a stopping point on the highway to hell. I'm sorry, we don't allow AC/DC references in here anymore. Maddie wouldn't admit it to anyone, but she once spent an entire day listening to Back in Black on repeat. I don't understand the reference. I don't listen to AC/DC. I'm guessing that's one of their songs. Well, I tried. We're less on a highway and more just an embouchure to the Empyrean. If you want to get real fancy with the wording, that is. An entrance to heaven? Very roughly speaking, yeah. But hell, I haven't seen the other side, so I can't even say that for sure. I'm fairly certain there's something there, though, which, I don't know. I can take comfort in that, I guess. I can take comfort in that, I guess. Oh, and speaking of comfort, how are you feeling? Like, every particle in my body is slowly moving away from every other particle in my body. That was rather eloquent. Expressing your feelings eloquently doesn't make them more valid, but it can make them easier for other people to understand. True. What use is feeling pain if you can't find a fun way to describe it? My head freaking hurts! It sucks and stuff! I keep telling you, the painkillers will take effect in a few minutes. I'm not gonna stop yelling about it until they do! You know, some philosophers believed that experiencing pain is one of the best ways to make sure you know you're alive. Jay's met some of these guys, he swears it. He's just had too much time to forget their names. That sounds fake. Which philosophers? Famous ones? Oh my gosh, you're actually just making it up. Possibly. You could have sold it better. Say that some famous singer said it instead. Cross that generational gap. You gotta appeal to the kids! I feel like every time I do that I just end up looking like one of those old guys who's afraid of wide-ranging societal shifts. Jay spent so much time being an old guy, he's almost begun doubting whether he was ever really young. Also, I did not miss Ashley's Ace Attorney finger point. She's pretty funny. I love her. I mean, you are old. Am not. You're like 6,000 years old. You gotta give me this one. Fine. How's your head feeling? It still sucks. How about we grab a drink and go sit outside? It's nice and cool out there. Do I have to? Yep. How are you feeling now? Better. Marginally. Things existing at the margins still deserve attention.
True. She really said old. I mean, she has every right to. She's probably plenty aware of how old this man is. So I get it.
Come on, I'm sure the drink isn't hurting.
What even is this?
I put 6 sugars in it.
Aw, you know me so well.
So, how are things at home?
Meh.
What's that translate to in old people language?
Things are normal, I guess. Mom's nearly done with her PhD.
That sounds good.
It is, probably. But she's pretty busy, so that means we're stuck eating microwave dinners at night.
Ashley's parents have forbidden her from tinkering with the microwave after the magnetron incident.
Capital letters. My favorite character. She's so funny. This little creature.
Ah, explains why you've barely left this place since last week.
I mean, I'd be here anyway.
True. You did ask her, right?
What, if I could be here?
Yeah? Don't want to invoke her wrath, do I?
She doesn't worry about me being here. You remember when she talked to Maddie about liquor licensing laws, right?
Licensing. Don't you love it when the government offers to sell your rights back to you after they've confiscated them?
True.
I think it was more of a lecture than a conversation. After all, Maddie wasn't doing anything wrong aside from letting you hang around after hours. I'm still amazed that Maddie didn't just tell her that we're not technically subject to the regulations, since we're not registered with anyone but the council.
She made the right choice. That would have been an ugly argument. But anyway, she's fine with me being here. She's got my mobile number, and as long as I respond to her check-ins, she's not gonna come and get me.
Good. I wouldn't want to worry her. Ah, wonderful.
Ugh.
Hmm?
My arm won't get wet.
Ah, don't worry about it. We can dry it off inside. Just try and enjoy the rain.
Okay.
I was joking about fake philosophy earlier, but I really do think it is important to take a moment to enjoy things when you can. Rain can feel oppressive. It can stop you from going outside, doing the things you enjoy. But there's nothing like the smell of rain before sunrise.
Petrichor.
Yeah, it's faintly magical. Did I ever tell you that?
Only about 100 times. I can hear it 101 times. It's okay.
That line was cute.
Alright, I'm actually getting kinda wet. Let's head in. So, given the fact that I am very obviously a dork with a bleeding heart, it's definitely safe to assume that I've let people other than you stay longer than they're technically allowed. You're so emotionally repressed that I never could have guessed. It's actually impressive. Well, you know, we all have our ways of coping with persistent extreme stress. Millennial things.
I don't know, all these poor kids just buy more money. This game's really coming out in spades with its hot takes.
My goodness. I'm just sitting here minding my business. Yep. But yes, I do understand how you feel. The separation. The difficulty keeping your thoughts together. The base level feeling that something's slightly askew.
Buy more money? Yeah, that's their suggestion. Just get more money, idiot.
And the fact, not the feeling, that your time is up.
Never loved facts.
Me neither. Honestly, I think it feels like having a cold, just without any of the physical symptoms. I guess that description works too. It's not quite as compelling as the one about your particles being repulsive, though.
Oi, that's definitely not what I meant by that one.
Isn't it? It's about time.
I can't believe I created these beautiful creatures and you turned them into dumb waiters.
Alas, such is life. They gotta pay rent somehow, considering how many cups they drop.
That's a feature, not a bug. It's to make them seem more alive.
You've taught them to intentionally drop coffee cups in the name of... Oh, big word. You've taught them to intentionally drop coffee cups in the name of verisimilitude? Verisimilitude. You'd hate for your little mechanical critters to be too good at their job. It would totally kill the vibe.
Maybe?
I'm gonna get Maddie to start ordering cheaper cups.
See? I'm promoting efficiency in our procurement cycles.
I hate whoever gave you that management book.
I'm sensing some hostility. Do I need to talk to HR?
Who's our human resources manager? I'm sure it's very good at its job, just not at busting coffee. Little creature.
Maddie wants us downstairs.
Oh, I suppose she's done setting up.
I'm glad she was able to do it without me. Gosh, so proud. Taught her everything I know.
You are a gremlin, you know that? Gremlins are often blamed for mechanical problems, so in Ashley's case, the description fits perfectly.
Of course. Shall we?
Whoopee! Are we actually going to get to see the necromancy? The necro and the necrobarista? Such is my hope.
Day 3, midnight.
It's too bloody damp down here. I know we're underground, but I don't suppose there are any windows we could open? There's a ventilation duct in here somewhere. Maddie, mind opening it up? Get some fresh air circulating?
Other end's blocked right now. There's a dumpster sitting on top of it. You'll have to grin and bear it.
I was about to ask if you were alright.
I'm acting! That was a fake cough. I'm an actress.
I'm fine. Thank you for checking, though. I'm just deep in my theater kid performance mode brain. Can we hurry this up?
We've done this before, old man.
Some people think Che is wise beyond his years. The truth is, he just doesn't look his age. An actress? That's nice, honey. What the hell? Stop talking to me like a child!
You know it takes a while to set up.
I don't appreciate your tone.
Sorry.
At the very least, can we turn some lights on?
With all the crap you've got scattered around the place. Maddie has more important things to do than declutter the cafe. I like to at least know where I'm putting my feet.
Ashley, would you mind? Thanks. You're more organized than last time, I see. Practice makes perfect. Keeping a place organized is easy. You just have to clean a little bit every single day. Just. I'm expecting the explanation to just say Keiji when you clicked old man. No. I don't think this game knows who you are. Silly. I probably could have changed it to say that, though.
Hey, Maddie. How much more wire do we need?
I think that's enough. Great. Now...
Jay?
What's up, little P? Some people use diminutive nicknames to create emotional distance. Shay uses them to close that distance.
I found you a chair.
Ah, thank you. So, this whole thing... Surely it's not legal, yeah? Yes, the council found it confronting. For good reason, I suppose. Because it utterly upsets the natural order, mate. It's not just bureaucracy. Sometimes the powers that be are willing to turn a blind eye, but patience and leniency are both in limited supply these days. Shush you. Most rules can be bent after all. And Maddie has a particular fascination with breaking rules. Maddie says that the only reason she learned the rules is that she would know when to break them. She's only half joking. Imagine if you opened the old man text and it was just an emoji. I opened the old man text and it's the index finger pointing at me, and I'm just like, what the hell?
That's fucked up. Hey, don't give her all the credit.
Blah. Is this related to her gambling for time? Mm-hmm. So, the transfer was the same sort of magic we're doing now, yes. The council successfully suppressed all available information about it, though. Suppressing information doesn't make it go away. It just hides it from the eyes of people who lack the curiosity and persistence to uncover it. For good reason. What happens if something goes wrong? Well, you don't tend to mess it up more than once. Or try it again after you fail, for that matter. What do you even call this sort of magic, then? Question's irrelevant, because it's banned. Strictly verboten, off-limits, and likely to be met with a harsh penalty.
Extremely cool. That's what I call it.
Well, by definition, it's a conduit ritual. Rituals are boring. It's the consequences that you have to worry about. But hey, we're among friends. So we can call it what it really is. Necromancy. All those hours are in this tree. Why did you hoard the hours here instead of using them to pay off your debt? Why would I use them to pay off a debt if I could use them to save a life instead? Oh, shit. Alright. How can I help? Will the subject please step forward? Council Gazette. We regret to inform you of the passing of Che Wu, a beloved fixture in the Australian alchemical community and owner of the terminal. As an innovator in alchemy and material spellcraft, and as a friend to anyone and everyone who walked through his doors, he will be missed. The best compliment a man like Che could ask for. You ready to do this again? Sure. Try not to kill me this time. Cool. Ashley, let's do this.
Ready when you are.
I hate this. You have reservations? It's unnatural to store hours in a non-sentient being like that. It can still feel pain, and this is a very painful process. For everyone involved. Yeah? Yeah. Guess it's time for us to watch the show. Let's see how badly this can go wrong. Yay. Calcination, solution, separation, conjunction, putrefaction, congelation, cibation, sublimation, fermentation, exaltation, multiplication, projection, conjunction. Big words. Words I'm not used to having to read aloud, yes. I've read them before, but reading them aloud, that's a bit different. Good enough. Ashley?
Everything's nominal on my end.
We're looking good, so let's get started. Increase power to 80%. Cibation.
Holding steady.
Cool. Next segment?
Activating.
How are we doing?
It's going fine. Conjunction's about halfway open. Just concentrate.
Having some issues here. Hey, we need more power.
Yep, ramping it up. I don't know if this will melt our conduits, though. Oh, crap. Yep, our conduits are definitely melting.
Ashley, language.
Fuck!
Bypass it.
I can patch the wires, but I don't know what else I can...
Do that. Now.
On it!
How close are we to finishing the cibation?
We're about 90%. Uh-oh. Shit. Shit. Are we gonna try again? I think I have to reinforce the wires and that'll fix it.
Yes. We're gonna keep going until we make it through. Do or die. Reset then and start again. Calcination, separation, conjunction, libation.
Not again. Just a couple seconds more. And... You've got it!
Oh yeah, this is banger.
Yes! Beginning sublimation.
You got this, Maddie. What's next?
We've opened the connection. Now all I've got to do is transfer the time.
How are you feeling, Che? I don't know.
Che?
Oh. Sublimation.
No! Okay, we won't stop.
You've gotten this far. I'm not giving up now, damn it.
Maddie?
I can't hold on to it. It's slipping out of my fingers.
Energy levels are dropping again.
See if you can keep it going for just a few more moments.
Rerouting. We could try it again.
I don't plan on stopping.
I think the conduit's only gonna last one more go, then it's kaput. And maybe you're kaput too. I don't know.
Oh, shit. Alright, Ashley, take your position again. We'll get it this time. Stop. Just stop. No! I've nearly got it, I swear! You are not going to bring me back. No. I've humored this enough. You've done your best, but this task is beyond you. I need to move on. And it's time to make your peace with this instead of trying to pervert the natural course of things. You never asked me if I wanted to stay. You just made the choice for me, and hurt yourself and everyone around you in the process. Let me leave.
Oh man. Win.
Jacoby, you're a goddamned bin chicken is what you are.
What?
No way. Crabs don't eat sushi or garbage.
You don't know that.
Yeah, well, you know what does eat sushi and garbage? Fresciornis maluka, otherwise known as the Australian bin chicken. We find that term offensive. We're actually white ibises. Aha! Huh. Incriminated yourself there. I'd expect nothing less from a bin chicken. Damn it. Okay, so, moving on. Classic misdirection. No, seriously, did you two see what happened back there? Yeah, that was rough. And yes, that thing with the ritual was also tough to watch. You weren't here when Che died, but... I remember. They just behaved like nothing had happened. Oh? My impression was that neither of them had ever remotely considered the possibility of failure. Idiots. Yes, but we're only here because of them, so we should be respectful. It seems to me like nobody in this cafe really seems to think things through. Yep. This place has a weird effect on people. Too much magic in the air, maybe? Who knows? Will they be okay? I don't know how I'd forgive something like that. Being kept here against my will while my very essence breaks down? That is what I believe kids these days call a party foul. Honestly, I don't know. I think Maddie probably has some self-reflection to do. Is this from the same people as mouthwashing? I don't think so. I'm not actually aware. But I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Necrobarista is like the single game from these devs.
Pair of saps, aren't we?
Pretty interesting a bit. Chicken has any idea what a party foul is? Well, it's interesting that they even have an idea of human language to begin with. I feel. Okay, Judgment 2. Sometimes I just sit. Relatable. Me too, same. Might not be very much. I'll have to look around. But we'll at least do Judgment 2 and the other one first. It'll let me out when I get to see all of them. Search Steam doesn't seem so. That's what I thought.
Okay. Ned leaned with his back against the counter, resting both his elbows on the surface behind him.
I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't lean on my counter, said Maddie.
Your counter?
Yes, it is my counter, said Maddie. So please don't lean on it. Ned laughed.
People lean on this counter all the time.
Customers lean on this counter. You're not a customer.
What if I ask for a drink? Then am I a customer?
We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone, so no, simply requesting a drink would not make you a customer.
A man with long, thin arms approached the counter. Can I get 2 lattes, 1 vanilla, and 1 with soy milk?
You got it,
said Maddie.
I'll have that right out for you.
Thanks, said the thin man, who took a seat at a table near the entrance. Maddie preoccupied herself with making the drink. Hey, Che, said Ned. Che looked up.
Do you ever feel like what you all do here is insignificant?
Said Ned.
Running the terminal? Making drinks, said Ned. You know, there's more to life than creature comforts. I enjoy a coffee as much as the next guy, but it's not good to get too pampered.
I'm not sure that enjoying a nice drink is what I'd call pampering, said Che. But if I had my choice between a pampered life and an unpampered one, I'd definitely pick the former. I say that as someone who's known what it's like to lead an unpampered life.
Suppose so, said Ned. I just think that overindulging in creature comforts will be the downfall of civilization. Not that I'd have a problem with that. Civilization is pretty overrated as it is.
I don't think that lattes are fueling a collapse of society, said Che. One might even say that the ability to walk into a cafe, ask for a drink, and have it made to order is civilization.
You know what it's like to live in a world without air conditioning, said Ned.
So do I,
shouted Maddie from across the room. Wasn't talking to you, said Ned. And no, living in an apartment with no AC is not the same as living in a world without air conditioning, because when you lay in bed at night, you know at any time you could go out and buy a window unit.
I'm not sure what your point is, said Che.
Of course you don't, said Ned. Neither did the Romans. It didn't stop them from getting invaded.
I know you're not that old, said Che.
Don't have to be old when you've got books, said Ned.
And these books had a chapter about how the Romans were caught completely unaware in air-conditioned cafes while sipping lattes as the invaders came to destroy their way of life.
Precisely, said Ned.
They were sitting indoors with the windows closed and couldn't hear the barbarians streaming into their lands.
One moment you're sitting down in a recliner, the next you've got a spear through your chest.
Che raised his eyebrows in a way that gave the impression of someone who had just rolled his eyes without wanting to invest the effort of having to roll his eyes.
I think I'll take the recliner, and when I wind up with a spear in my chest, you can come and laugh at me, said Che. Sure, said Ned. Like I said, I've got no dock in this fight. I'm not offering advice, just judgment. You can go on doing whatever you want, and I'll keep thinking less of you for it.
Che glared at Ned.
Said Ned. Not that I'd judge you. You know what it's like to have a hard life. I can tell from the calluses on your hands. You don't get those by accident.
Ned lowered his voice and glanced at Maddie.
But her... You and I both know that kids these days...
Che grabbed Ned by the scruff of the neck and jerked him violently before softly speaking directly into his ear.
Don't ever try and judge her, Ned. You don't know the first thing about what she's been through.
Che let go of Ned's collar, but not before giving him a violent tug. Fine, fine, I get it. You're protective, said Ned. But not everyone here is like your little protege. Like Mr. Scrawny over there. He jerked his thumb in the direction of the thin-armed man who was awaiting his lattes. Same thing goes for him, said Shay. What do you know about what he's been through? Who are you to judge? Ned raised his hands defensively. I'm just saying, times aren't what they used to be. You're right, times aren't what they used to be, said Shay. And do you know what I've learned from being around for quite a while? It doesn't get easier. I get stronger, but life doesn't easier. So kindly fuck off with any of your kids these days bullshit. Sheesh, said Ned. You know, as old souls go, you're no fun to commiserate with. Sorry to be a disappointment, said Shay. He stood up and started to walk away. It's odd, said Ned, not looking up. Shay stopped and turned to him. What is? To see you give so much of a fuck, said Ned. I thought you had no fucks left to give. I have fucks left to give, but they're not as plentiful as they used to be, said Shay. So I have to save them for the things I care a lot about. I was just bullshitting, you know, said Ned. Taking the piss out of everyone is supposed to be a recreational pastime. I was just working with the material in front of me. You were right about one thing, said Shay. About our society being overrun with invaders who destroy our way of life. That's quite an about-face. Shay placed an arm around Ned and pointed at Maddie. Invader. He pointed at two 20-somethings chatting in the corner. Invaders. He pointed at an ashling scuttling across the floor. Tools of the invaders. The world used to belong to the likes of you and me, and now it doesn't. Every generation, a new generation comes, bringing their new ways with them. Invading our world. Folks like you and I, we're the ones who have to worry about being caught unawares. Because pretty soon the world is going to belong to people like them. In fact, I think that day may have already come, and we just haven't realized it yet. Cripes, said Ned. You make it sound so apocalyptic. Funny, said Shay. I thought I was being optimistic. He's so cute. Good guy, Shay. Alright. And then sometimes I just sit. Him. Shay came down the stairs and noticed that Kishan was still seated at the counter, staring into a glass of something. It was a mixed drink of some kind, but it didn't look like coffee to Shay. You mind company? Said Shay, leaning on the seat next to Kishan. By all means, said Kishan. I don't see anyone else using that seat. Well, you might have been using it, said Shay. As a buffer. I'm not looking for conversation, said Kishan. But I'm not really looking to avoid it either. That makes two of us, said Shay. He leaned across the counter and reached down, locating a cup and a bottle purely by touch from a familiar nook in the bar. He poured himself a finger of whiskey, just enough to warm his tongue. Kishan continued staring into his own drink, his expression unwavering. Chase shrugged and sampled his own drink, feeling the warmth of the drink as the whiskey spread across his tongue and trickled down his throat. He set the glass down. The next few moments passed in silence, as Kishan continued staring into his own glass, and Shay absently turned his empty glass on the counter. Kishan finally broke the silence. If you're waiting for me to finish off this drink so you can offer me some of whatever that is, you might be waiting a long time, said Kishan. I wouldn't offer you this, said Shay. It's a special bottle. Older than I am. Something like that ought to be kept in private, don't you think? Said Kishan. Shay shrugged. I have no problem letting people sample it if they want it. This bottle has a way of never running empty. But a whiskey like this, you don't get it just by sitting there passively. You have to at least take the step of asking for it. Because it only gives when people are expecting to get. If I offer, it won't work. It sounds like you have a bottle that is in the business of filling people's subconscious prophecies, said Kishan. That does seem to be the case, said Shay. I try not to think about it. Bad juju. Juju? Is that a real thing here? As real a thing here as it is anywhere, said Shay. Kishan looked contemplative for a moment. If the bottle is in the business of fulfilling people's expectations, what happens if I expect you to pour me a drink and find the bottle empty? Don't, said Shay, cutting him off. Don't even get me thinking about it, because if I start thinking about it, it might happen. I've got a good thing going here. Don't jinx it. Alright, said Kishan. Sorry if I messed with your mojo, or juju, or whatever it is. I didn't mean to break anything. It's not as fragile as that, said Shay. This isn't the first time I've had this conversation. Just, why play with fire if you don't have to, you know? I think I will have some of that whiskey, said Kishan. Lord knows I'm not making any progress with this. He looked at the drink in front of him and pushed it aside. Shay smiled and reached behind the counter for another glass, pouring a single finger for Kishan. Kishan took a sip. That's smooth, he said. I know, said Shay. They don't make them like they used to. Well, they do, but they'll take a few more decades to get there. Kishan cleared his throat and started coughing. He pounded his chest with his fist and let out a wheeze before settling down. You alright? Said Shay. Yeah, said Kishan. I think I'm alright. Whatever rut Kishan had been in when he sat down, he seemed to be out of it by now. There was something about that dry whiskey that had a way of catching people's throats by surprise, and there was something about a coughing fit that had a way of getting butterflies out of the stomach. Maybe it wasn't much, but it was something. Shay smiled as he put away the bottle, giving it an affectionate pat as he set it down. One less case of post-mortem depression in the world. Good job, Pappy. Referring to himself as Pappy? Amazing. So only he is allowed to call himself old. I mean, fair. I guess it really do be like that sometimes. Oh, of course. The circle, that makes sense. Cherished moments. What are you doing? Said Ned. Chase spoke without turning his head. Looking at that wall over there. So, nothing. No, said Che. I'm looking at the wall over there. So, nothing. The wall has an interesting texture, said Che. Have you ever noticed that if you stop and stare at something for long enough, it starts to just look like itself? I think you're talking crazy, said Ned. When I was younger, I was in the habit of making comparisons, said Che. I'd see a cloud and say, oh, it looks like a duck, when it looks nothing like a duck. My mind wanted so desperately to connect that feeling of seeing a cloud to something I was familiar with. Now, I'm content to just look at a cloud and appreciate it for what it is. You're really serious about this, said Ned. You're actually scrutinizing that wall. I'm not scrutinizing it, said Che. Just observing it and appreciating it. How did you get to be this way? Said Ned. Why are you the way you are now? Che shrugged. I realized at a certain point that I might as well cherish every moment. I don't understand you, said Ned. I thought cherish every moment was about spending time with your loved ones, getting the most out of life. Not wasting away staring at a wall. You're right. You don't understand me, said Che. If the only moments you can cherish are the ones you're with friends or family, or having a great song, or hearing a great song, or having a great meal, that's just cherishing the precious moments. You're selectively choosing moments to cherish. I mean to cherish every moment. Standing in line at the store, cherish it. Alone in a room with no one but yourself for company, cherish it. That sounds impossible, said Ned. It's hard, not impossible, said Che. But it gets easier when you practice. I'm not sure whether to pity you or envy you, said Ned. There you go again, said Che, always trying to make the comparison. Looking at another person and considering whether to pity them because they're worse off than you, or envy them because they're better off. Never willing to just let them be what they are, and let yourself be what you are. Okay, now you're starting to sound profound. Che grinned. Did I accidentally deliver a bit of cogent wisdom there? You might have, said Ned. I think if there's anyone who ought to appreciate what I'm saying, it's you, said Che. You probably know better than most folks that not every day can be full of wonderful moments. Some days are just ordinary. Some days you've got little beyond your own thoughts for company. I guess I'm such good friends with my own thoughts that I forgot they were there, said Ned. Ned slumped next to Che. What are you doing? Said Che. I'm going to stare at this wall until it starts looking like itself, said Ned. Here you go again, said Che, looking at something with an expectation of what it's going to look like. You've got to let go of that, man. Fuck! Now you've got me thinking about my own brain! This is like one of those things where someone tells you not to think of an elephant and then it becomes impossible not to. I wasn't kidding when I said it was hard, said Che. I also wasn't kidding when I said it gets easier with practice. Well then, said Ned. I guess I may as well start now. They're so cute. And stupid, also. The duality, trying really hard to accomplish a thing and then you can't do the thing because you're thinking too hard about the thing. Many such cases. Any of this stuff? No? Can I go up? Do I have permission to go up the stairs? Not yet, so I missed something. Okay. The sign. Okay. Makes sense. Who wants to live forever? Espresso machine's acting up again. Maddie sighed. Why does it have to be like this? It doesn't have to be like this, said Che. You're right, said Maddie. It wasn't always like this. If you travel back in time far enough, you'll find an era when we had a working espresso machine. And if you travel even further back, you'll get to a time when espresso machines didn't exist, said Che. Maddie reached below the counter for the bottle of Chardonnay she had opened that morning. It was half empty. Is this the prelude to one of those moments where an old man tells me about how lucky we are to have things so easy? Nah, said Che. Things aren't easier. In fact, they're harder. That's why you need all the modern technology to help deal with them. Che nodded to the wine bottle in Maddie's hand. So, are you gonna offer me some of that, or just keep squeezing its neck like you're trying to choke it? Maddie began pouring a drink for Che. So, what were things like back in the old days? Well, for one thing, we didn't need glasses back then. Glasses are not a new invention, old man. I've seen pictures of Benjamin Franklin. Well, yeah, we had glasses back then, but we didn't use them. We drank straight from the bottle. Har har. No, really, said Che. Glasses are just one more thing to keep track of. One more thing to clean. It's much easier to just pass a bottle back and forth. That may be the case, said Maddie, but I'm sure our patrons appreciate the extra effort that goes into making sure they're always drinking from clean glasses. I'm sure they do, said Che. That's another thing that's changed. Everyone's a connoisseur of whatever they're drinking. Is that you finger-wagging about how young people all have particular tastes? No, said Che. At least I don't think it is. I guess people are all enjoying the present moment more. Back when we drank sock juice, you were just doing whatever it took to get that stimulant into your bloodstream. Ditto for most depressants. Do I want to know what sock juice is? Said Maddie. Because I'm fairly certain I don't. We didn't have coffee filters back then, said Che. So you'd use a sock instead. Don't worry, we always used clean socks whenever they were available. Maddie closed her eyes, looking physically ill. Me too, not sock juice. Ew! Even if it was a clean sock. Ugh, you put feet there. Ew! That's gross. You were saying something about people enjoying the present moment before that thoroughly awful digression about how you made coffee. Yeah, said Che. I know there's this stereotype about how in modern society no one is ever really present, but if anything, I feel like it's the other way around. Nowadays, people are all about enjoying the present moment. People used to be way more obsessed with where they were going. Stop saying you guys are okay with sock juice. Yuck! Ew! I hate that. As in, where they were migrating to? In a manner of speaking, said Shay. Let's just say that I'm amazed how few people these days come in here asking questions about heaven and hell. 100 years ago, if you caught someone on their way out of this world, the first thing they wanted to know was, which place is this? And after they found out they were on a temporary stop to the next place, they'd want to know where it was they were going. There's still plenty of that, said Maddie. Yeah, but a lot less of it, said Shay. And, you know, I don't think it was a case of people's priorities suddenly changing once they found themselves standing on the precipice. There were people who used to describe themselves as God-fearing. It was just a part of life. And now it's not. He shrugged. I guess people found more important things to worry about. There wasn't a lot going on back then. He took a sip of Chardonnay. Good thing I'm going to live forever. Worried you'd go to hell? Hell yes, said Shay. I've done way too much sinning to ever make it into heaven. You've done more good than ill for the world, said Maddie. I'm pretty sure that balances it out. You probably have a positive balance. Nah, said Shay. I don't think it works like that. I'm pretty sure I'm just a bad person who happens to do good things most of the time. Well, it might not be good enough for heaven, but it's good enough for me, said Maddie. So I guess it is a good thing that you're going to live forever. Ooh. This conversation hurts, knowing what we know now. Ha 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 ha. Smile. Yeah, about that. I believe I have been in here before, so I could probably go all the way up. Or I still can't get in. Man, oh man. No, don't give me sock juice. Don't even joke. Okay, well, we made good progress. We made it through the side story. We made it through chapter... I guess that was chapter 6. Hold on, what? Tell me. I actually don't know if it'll tell me. That's kind of the one bummer about this, is it doesn't tell me things. Oh, wait. Let me... Can I... If only the memories were sorted by chapter. Look how good I'm doing in my completion, though. Wee! I've got, like... most of them. I dare say I'm winning. Depression, sadness, tragedy. Good job, team. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep going or not. If I have the energy to do one more chapter. Because, like, I'm doing okay, but I can also tell my voice is starting to go wah, wah, wah. And I don't know how long the next chapter is in comparison to these last couple. I am thinking. If you need to eat, I don't know if I'm gonna eat. It's only 4 in the afternoon / evening. Hi, thinking. Hi, Hanaki. With your luck, it'll be like 2 hours. Honestly, yeah, and that would shoot me over where I needed to be, because 6 is dinner time. I need to make sure I can eat well, so that I can get my energy back. Do I risk it? Do I risk it for the biscuit? Biscuit for the risk? I don't know. Me running around the terminal. I don't know! Can't believe they let me behind the counter. That's so crazy. Anyway. No jump button. Unfortunate. I mean, maybe I'll be okay. I'll try one more. I'll try one more.
Because I do want to see what's happening. I'm hoping we can resolve the issues between Maddie and Shay in the next chapter. I will stop after that one, though. I think I could do it. We're locking the frickin'. Okay. This is on you. There's no question. You are a failure. The council's going to take the cafe away from you. She's having a panic attack. Panic attack. And you should have seen this all coming. Episode 7. Ghost. This never gets old. You know, I wondered for a long time how I would feel if I never got old. And then I tried it out, and I got old anyway. There's probably a moral in that story somewhere. When did we ever have time for morals anyway? You're a hellion, you know that? Even the mild-mannered can raise hell under the right circumstances. It's weird to think that you just used to be a mild-mannered student. I was just better at biting my tongue. If anything, I just hope that I was able to make your life a little more interesting. We've had a pretty good run, man. I don't want you to feel like I wasted my time on you, or that having you in my life hasn't been an absolute bloody privilege. Can we do this later? Of course. I reckon I see someone walking over. Can you get the machine ready? If there was ever a moment when Maddie hoped a machine would fail her, it's now. Yeah. Let's make some fucking coffee. Here you go. Again, sorry for the wait. Thanks. If it were anywhere else, I'd just not come back. But the beans. And I promise it won't happen again. Thanks for your patience. How long was I staring at the wall? 15 minutes by my reckoning. Che's method of reckoning might mostly be based on hunches, but his hunches are formed by more experience than you can fit into most science textbooks. Guys, I know, I didn't want to have to pause on the beans, but it was for the sake of the script. It was in the acting. Don't throw beans at me. What the hell? I came inside from sweeping up the front, and just saw you staring blankly into your mug while that customer was just standing there. They were being very patient. I have no idea how that happened. I feel terrible. It's no biggie. Like you told me the other day, our roasts are iconic enough that we can afford to get away with stuff like that once in a while. Well, yeah, but the context of that conversation was when we'd just fought off dozens of Ashleys that didn't believe us. How did Ashley even find the time to make that many of them? We told them we weren't stray pieces of cutlery. Yeah. We probably shouldn't let that happen again. Trust me, it's not on the agenda. But like I was saying, people love this place. Even if they sometimes have to wait 15 minutes for the barista to stop hyper-focusing on her coffee. Yeah, I don't know. That isn't meant to happen.
how long have you been awake? I think maybe 3 days? Good lord. That's bad, yeah? I'm honestly amazed you're not seeing things. Oh, I'm hallucinating hardcore. No worries there. Also, I keep seeing faces in coffees. They saying anything interesting? Nothing but echoes of my internal monologue. There's a lot of room in Maddie's head for those ideas to bounce around and revisit her. More espresso equals less depresso. I'm sure it's a fun time. It's a blast! At least your hands don't need to be too steady to make coffee. See, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Shh. Anyway, speaking of coffee, you should make some. I'm already like 15 shots deep, man. I think I'll die if I have any more. No, Maddie. I'm saying you have a job to do. Sorry, I feel like you're trying to lead me into some sort of conclusion here, but... For the customer, right here, who I assume is wanting a coffee. Oh! Shit! My bad. Haven't slept for... What can we get you?
1 latte, 1 soy flat white.
Simple things can sometimes pull you back down to earth. At the very least, they're a reason you'd miss having both feet on the ground. Sure thing. Feel free to take a seat. We'll bring them over. Man. Yep. 15 shots, though? Really? Because just saying, at some point you're gonna hit a lethal dose.
I have some insane tolerance happening here.
There's some things that Maddie has a hard time tolerating. Caffeine isn't one of them. I think. I hope. Right. Well, I respect your right to make a complete idiot out of yourself and die in the process. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't.
Huh. Can't believe everyone's gonna know me as the person who killed her boss in a botched necromancy attempt.
The only thing worse than getting caught practicing necromancy is getting caught failing at necromancy.
You know?
That's hella straight rep right there. Council's gonna be too afraid of me to screw with me. I don't think they're too intimidated by you, fortunately. Damn it. Let's not worry about them for now, though. What should I worry about instead? Nothing? Buddy. I tried. Hey, actually... Where's Ashley? Sleeping upstairs. We're not gonna get much out of her for a few hours, at least. And Kishan's gone off somewhere in the terminal with Ned. They're around. Somewhere. Good that Ashley's getting some sleep, though. Imagine if you did that. I'll sleep when I'm dead! Uh-huh. But also, she's okay, right? Yep. Just needs some rest and maybe a few days of tapering off caffeine. Oh. She's gonna be cranky. As a mule. Well, I have that to look forward to. I'm sure it'll be plenty of fun. What can we get you? What roast do you have today? Ah, let me see. You've got your standards. Espresso, Italian, city. No, I'm looking for something fancy. Fancy, you say? What do you have in mind? I don't know. Something new, different, special. Artisanal. Psst. Maddie. What? In English, that word translates to artisanal. Thanks. Anytime, mate. We've got a pretty nice house roast that you might like. What else can you call a coffee that feels like home? The beans are sourced from a faraway land, enchanted with subtle magics. What land? Tell me. They're from Brisbane. What else?
I'll give you our secret blend if you stop holding up the line.
Ack. I'll take it.
Go sit down, I'll bring it over to you.
What were you gonna give him?
I was just gonna take a blowtorch to some espresso beans.
For the cultured consumer who can truly appreciate espresso brulee. Come on, Maddie.
What?
Don't be ridiculous. I don't know what you mean. I mean that it's a waste of time for you to do that when you've got people to serve. Ah. Be right back. Their dynamic is so cute. You're saying that with a V face was amazing. It was very cute. Oh, God, you weren't kidding. This is awful. How are you able to drink that without your entire face crumbling into dust? It's so dry that it'd give Antarctica a run for its money. Antarctica is a desert. Technically. Shut up. I find it drinkable because it reminds me of good times. Drinkable feels like it should rank right up there with passable for tepid compliments. What? It's thoroughly shithouse. It reminds me of lost loves. It's very worrying to me that this concentrated bin juice reminds you of a relationship. Oh, if only Maddie knew just how many hearts Che has had to break, and how many times he's had to steal his own. Oh, I've told you about her. Wait, you're not talking about... Yep, the fugitive. Putting it charitably, there are probably some other words that could describe her. Yuno's reading is way more than drinkable. Aw, thank you. I do my best. The one who I took in for a few months. I thought you liked her. I did. The taste reminds me of her because it's smoky. Like licking a friggin' tailpipe. And has vague hints of iron. I have concerns, Che. Never thought I'd have a succubus drop by, to be honest. Succubi are fabled for going after sleeping victims, but most of them have the decency to wake you up and ask permission first. Wait, you never told me she was a succubus. Didn't I? Well, I suppose it would have been inappropriate to mention that in front of Ashley. Oh yeah, her head would definitely explode. But yes, she was a succubus. I wouldn't have ever expected a cute demon to crash at my bar, but ended up having a wonderful, if short-lived, relationship. Flings can cram a lot of passion into a few days. Some people think that kind of passion density shouldn't be possible. Attempt one at your own peril. That's actually really sweet. Yeah. Still weird that the coffee reminds you of her, but I've heard weirder things. If you don't have an appetite for the unusual, the terminal is a bad place to find a full-time job. If I explained it to you, your head would explode too. Well, you mentioned tailpipes. Well, that's my break time over. Time to get back to work running a cafe, doing barista things. I'm gonna go perform some barista-related activities, and you're welcome to join me, I guess. Don't forget to water the plants. Water them yourself! It's your job! Busy! Goodbye! I cry a little bit. They're trying so hard to be normal. But things are not normal. No, they are not. Oh wow, that was really short. Are you seriously just here so we can be part of a robot fight club? For real? Is this why I was raised from the dead and sealed in a metal shell? Is that the only reason? Guys, I'm freaking out. Why aren't you saying anything? Guys. Egg puns. Right? I should poach some of them. Seriously? Is this not a big deal to you? Nah. We only fight if we want to. And it's all in good fun. You're really endorsing capturing creatures and forcing them to fight one another? Sure, why not?
It's not like we really have the capacity to get injured or bleed. Ethics, schmethics. Unbelievable. You two are unbelievable. Eh. Hey, is that the sound of someone calling us? I think it might be. Duty calls and all that. Toodles.
My goodness.
That was like 1/3 of the other chapters. I wonder if they're all gonna be short. I don't know if I want to risk it though. I did say this is gonna be the last one and then I was gonna call it, but that was incredibly short.
Don't forget to water the plants.
We'll read the lore and then I will probably stop for the day. Assuming I can find where the rest of the lore is. Lore Doko. Well, I guess there might not be any because I spawned in a place I've been in before. Unless there's something about the bookshelf. Dartboard. Book. Dictionary. True. Mythical directory. A plant. More books. No lore? Kinda looking like it. Normally something will like highlight if it was something I could look at. Kinda looking like there might not be a lore update. Gasp. No lore? That's crazy. Unless I'm just blind. I don't know where it is. I don't know. I'm perusing. I'm using my little cursor. I'm waving it all around. Time to search every bookcase. Owari. Where's the lore? Plant. Clock. No. Little thing, no.
Where?
No lore. Nothing. Nothing. Right, we've read that before. Read that before. It's like it spawned me here. I don't think there's anything new. Got on some errands, had fun watching, see you around and enjoy Peak. Thank you! It is very good. I do like it. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think there might be no lore this time. Lore gone. Advisory roll? Did I never read this? Is this it? Is this the new thing? Because I don't remember if I ever read this. Wait. There's one way to check. Because the memories are based on the things that I've read. Okay, no, I have read it. I unlocked these through reading the lore pieces, so I'm looking around like, where is it? Dang. No lore. But that means that there should be more because I still have pieces that are missing, unless that's based on beating the game, but like... no lore. Sad. I mean, I guess it's also obvious because of the fact that I have to, like... you know... Is it on a different part of the second floor bookshelf? It's a huge freaking bookshelf. How would I know? I also can't go up these ladders, so I can only, like, look here. I got nothing. Bleh. But, like, normally it doesn't let me, like, leave an area if there's lore I still have to read. It kind of tries to, like, keep me entrapped, like it did last time.
but I'm not seeing anything. I wouldn't know where to look. This movie, no lore. Maybe no. These bookshelves need to be reorganized. My urge. Delicate Operation. Pretty sure we read that one. Look at all these boxes for checkers. How many people want to play checkers at this place that they need that many boxes? Yeah, I'm not getting anything. The Fisherman. Wait. Have I read The Fisherman? Please, video game. Oh, I haven't. We did it. We found something. Part 2. Yeah. Also, I don't know if I've ever read Part 1, but I wouldn't know where to look for Part 1. Game room. Have I been in here before? Oh yeah, I definitely have. Ash's Inventions. Something Down Under. I know I read that. Eek. Grade 10, Something Down Under. I guess we never read the fish one, so I guess I'll read the fish one. They aren't usually like super directly related, as far as I know. But I don't know where the heck Fisherman 1 is. I don't know things. I'll just read Fisherman 2, I guess. It's fine. You found something, at least. Him. The expression on Jack's face was expectant when Maddie came out of the kitchen carrying his plate. Expectant, but not impatient. The expression fit his posture, sitting upright with hands folded and resting in front of him. Your halibut's ready? Jack's eyebrows raised when Maddie set the plate down in front of him. He closed his eyes and lowered his chin just a tad, allowing the scent of grilled fish to waft into his nostrils as he drank in the odor. As several moments passed, a smile crawled onto his face, and he grabbed a fork and began cutting the halibut up. He was several mouthfuls in when Maddie spoke up. I thought you said you weren't going to eat it, she said. Couldn't help myself, said Jack. It smelled too good to not give it a taste, and tasted too good to stop. I couldn't help but notice the hesitation, said Maddie. Jack held up the fork, which had a piece of the fish speared on it. You know, a fish like this, you never know what kind of memories it's going to bring up. Not all memories are good. But this fish, it tastes like adventure. Conquest. You fish much? You could say that, said Jack with a grin. I make it out. Made it out on the water several days each year. Catch any big ones? Lots, I'm sure, said Jack. But I'm more of a quantity over size kind of person. The most important weight is your tally at the end of the day. I'm not the patient kind of fisherman. Where'd you learn to be so patient if not from fishing? Fishing's the only time I'm not a patient man, said Jack. Funny, said Maddie. I tend to hear the opposite from a lot of people. I take really long vacations, said Jack. And that's when you fish? And that's when I don't fish, said Jack. Ah, you're a fish tradesman. Better known as a fisherman, said Jack. But yeah. You could have led with that, you know, said Maddie. Didn't I? Said Jack. Well, like I said, I don't get out on the water very often. And yet it's your profession, said Maddie. I think that would mean more days on the water. Such is life in Alaska, he said. Fishing season gets shorter every year. Ah, of course, said Maddie. Halibut are seasonal. You can only catch them when they migrate. Is that it? It's the kind of business that's only open a few days out of the year thanks to Mother Nature? Thanks to the government, said Jack. In 1970, halibut season was 150 days long. Then it got shortened to 100 days. You only work 100 days out of the year? No, ma'am, said Jack. 100 days halibut season was before my time. By the time I found myself on that side of the Pacific, they were down to fishing derbies. Actually, that's what got me out there. Derbies? All the fish you can catch for 24 hours. They're spaced out. Fishing season is just a few days a year now. Can you make a living doing that? You can catch a lot of fish in one day, said Jack. That's why they had to shorten the season. It doesn't take very many skiffs on the water before you have a problem with overfishing. I was sold on the promise of working for several days out of the year and being able to come back home and live the good life the 360 days out of the year that I didn't have to work. He grinned in a way that suggested he wanted Maddie to prompt further. Did Alaska deliver on that promise? Said Maddie. Is America truly a land where the streets are paved with gold? The streets aren't paved with gold, even though I'm told there's black gold to be found in Alaska. But yes, Alaska did deliver what was promised. I worked several derbies a year, and I made enough to live pretty well. I just skipped the part where I was supposed to come back home. What's the matter? Said Maddie. Didn't want to sail back to Australia? Afraid of getting seasick? No, ma'am, said Jack, apparently missing her joke. You met someone who convinced you to stay. A few someones, said Jack. You spend some time working a skiff with someone, that's the kind of bond you don't find easily. It's not the kind of thing you give up easily. That kind of bond working only a few days out of the year? Said Maddie. It's intense, said Jack. It's like being in the line of duty. It's a little like going to war. War against the fishes? War against the sea, said Jack. When it's all you can catch for 24 hours, you don't have time to be safe. When the day arrives, you're out on the water, no matter the weather. And those skiffs are not large boats. For every 1,000 fishermen that go out, 997 come back. Firefighters have better odds than that. Soldiers have better odds than that. So yes, it is a bit like going to war. He looked down at the fish in front of him for a moment. There were some times I could swear I could smell death on the water. And every time you pulled up to shore with a boat full of fish and the same number of men you left with, it was a giant middle finger to death's face. He broke into a grin. In those moments, you never feel more at home. When you have that kind of experience with someone, you don't fuck off to spend the year in Australia, you know? He tapped his chest. I'm one of them now. Jack looked around, and Maddie realized it was the first moment she'd seen Jack really take notice of the space he was in. His eyes squinted as they scanned the shelves behind her, and the people at the tables around him. But I ended up here. I think I always knew I would be here, sooner or later. Dang. Guess that's it. Wonder if he died on a ship. Did he die? Weh. Yeah, we read billiards. We read both the billiards. Where the heck is Fisherman 1? In order to have Fisherman 2. But it was one I hadn't read, so... meh. Not seeing anything, really. I already looked at all these shelves, so... I don't know. I'll try looking downstairs again. Oh, there's Fisherman 1. Hello. We're gonna read it backwards, I guess, but that's okay. Maddie was about to leave the counter when an old-looking man pushed the door open. He was hunched over, and he walked with a bit of a limp, and even at this distance she could see the leathery texture of his skin, a testament to many years well-lived. Maddie had been about to leave the counter to Che, but there was something in the way the man walked that made her want to stay long enough to see if he had any special requests. She wasn't sure if she would like the man, and in fact, she was fairly sure that there was a good chance that she wouldn't have much to say to the man, or much that she would be interested in hearing from him. But it was obvious that the man had paid his dues, and she felt that she owed him at least a few moments of her time. Even if he hadn't done anything in life worthy of admiration, he at least had done enough to earn her respect. It was only when the man sat down that Maddie saw that his skin was cracked, but not wrinkled. His body had been aged, but it had been aged by the elements and the sun, more than it had been aged by the passage of time. The slight limp in his step could have easily been the limp of a young man who had spent one day too many lifting loads that were 1 kilo too heavy for him. He took the seat directly in front of her. You serve food here? Apparently the man was more interested in finding out what was on offer than figuring out where he was.
A few typos here and there? Well, yeah. But when your game is primarily focused on prose, it's kind of understandable that there'd be a lot of typos. Probably didn't have a proofreader on staff who was, like, super thorough with it all, but it's okay. And sometimes certain mistakes are hard to catch because it's so similar to the word that's supposed to be there that your brain kind of auto-corrects it in your head when you read it. Especially if you're one of the people that also wrote it. Sometimes words will just auto-correct in your head when you're reading, and you won't realize that they're wrong. The reverse is also true. Sometimes you will autocorrect and assume a certain word is one word even though it's actually written with the correct one, and you read it wrong. Reading is strange.
Maddie kept herself from visibly smirking. There was something she liked about guests like that, people whose only question was what was on tap. Maddie glanced at Che. He gave a nod of assent. Yes, Che was willing to play the role of grillmaster today. We do serve food, she said. The man squinted up at the menu above him. My eyes don't work too well in this light, he said. Got a paper menu? Maddie reached under the counter and pulled out a menu that looked just as aged as the man sitting in front of her. Its scars were from coffee stains, not cuts. But as she watched the man hold the menu, there was something about the combination of the two of them that felt right to her. The man stared at the menu for a good deal longer than it must have taken him to read everything on it. He finally spoke after a long-considered pause. Do you suppose it would be a problem if I were to order something if I didn't intend to actually eat it? That's not the kind of thing that would offend me, said Maddie. Actually, it was exactly the kind of thing that would offend her. Yet there was something in the way that the man asked that made her feel like whatever reason he might have for not eating food he was served, it would be a good one. And she was half interested to find out what the man's reaction would be. I'll have the grilled halibut, he said. Ah, halibut, said Maddie. She understood. Many people enjoyed the concept of grilled fish more than they liked it in practice, and if this man knew himself well enough to be upfront and honest about that, she could respect that. I can't promise that it's never been frozen. I hope that's not a problem, she said, sure that it wouldn't be. Sounds like my kind of fish, said the man. The best halibut swim in cold water. Ain't a problem if that water happens to be in solid form after the halibut passes. She nodded to Che, who nodded back and headed back to the freezer. The man placed both of his hands on the counter and folded them. There was something serene in the way that the man sat there, with no inclination to glance around and inspect the cafe he was in. No nervous movement in his legs, no strained expression on his face to express that he was waiting for something to happen. He looked so calm that Maddie almost didn't want to disturb him, but she chafed at the idea that only squeaky wheels were deserving of grease. Some wheels were just too polite to ask. Do you want a drink while you're waiting on that? I don't think I need a drink, said the man. Alright, said Maddie, picking up a whiskey bottle and placing it in his field of view, a reminder of what he was free to ask for. The man squinted. Is that Jack Daniels? Indeed it is, said Maddie. The man's shoulders rose a bit in what looked like barely a chuckle. Got a fondness for that particular drink? It's just that we share the same name, said the man. I'm Jack Daniel. No relation to the distiller. I had several friends who took it upon themselves to check. As you might imagine, I've seen a lot of those bottles over the years. It's the kind of gift that people enjoy giving you when you have a name like that. Is it a gift that you enjoyed receiving? It's always a pleasure to receive a gift, said Jack. It's nice to know that you have friends who care about you and think about you. Is it a gift that you enjoyed consuming? I had a shelf in my flat where I collected them, waiting for other people to come so I'd have an excuse to open them. Ah, said Maddie, picking up the bottle and placing it below the counter. Sorry if I brought up a bad memory. He laughed. Where's the bad memory? They're good to receive from friends and good to share with friends. It's a reminder of the people who I was close to, and the things I did with them. No need to apologize for that. Maddie smiled. She was beginning to find that she liked Jack, and And it seemed like Jack was the kind of person who liked her, if for no other reason than that he liked people, and Maddie was people. She chuckled with him, and she enjoyed the chuckle so much that she almost missed Jack's momentary sideways glance, an unguarded moment when his mind seemed to be on something other than what he was talking about. It was only an instant, but it was a flicker of pain that she'd learned to recognize over the years. There was something in him that was hurting, even as he remembered his friends. A sense of loss? A regret about something left unsaid? Maddie wasn't sure. Whatever it was none of her business. But she wanted it to be her business. Well, anything you want, just ask, said Maddie. A cup of water, warm glass of milk. Warm glass of milk? How old do you think I am? Maddie shrugged. 5 or 6, just the right age to drink a tall glass of milk before being shooed off to bed at 8 o'clock in the evening. I'm just barely older, said Jack. But if I do want that glass of milk, I guess I know who to ask. Silly. He's not an alcoholic. He just said that he really only opened up those bottles to share with friends. He's just a guy. Guess that's smart of me to check down here. Wait the frick. Okay. Oh, we unlocked those two. Okay, so then I have memories for chapter 8, chapter 9, 10. So we've almost got them all then. Also, I heard the notification, but it looks like it didn't show up on my stream elements, so I will need 1 second to check my tab. Hold on. I'm really gonna fight stream elements. I'm gonna friggin' give it a gentle punch in the nose. It's annoying how often I have to refresh this thing. Sven, thank you for the 333. I am Jack's uneaten halibut. Oh no. I didn't realize that the fish came here to my chat. What a lucky cameo. Sounds like a very lonely guy. I don't think he was lonely. Again, it said that he had friends. He seems very sociable. I think he's only sad right now because of his realization that he's dead, you know? Like, based on the second part, which we read first. He just was, like, reminiscing over the bonds that he made with the people that he fished with. And, you know, now he is gone and he doesn't have them. So, of course, that would make him a little sad. I don't think he's lonely. Or, well, he wasn't in life. He might be a bit lonely now with that realization, but... Okay, well, we still made really good progress today. We read more than I thought we were going to. So next time, we'll be on Chapter 8. If they continue to be this short, we could probably even finish Necrobarista next week. So, we will see what happens. But that will be it for me for today. Tomorrow is members only stream. We will be playing games and yapping as we usually do, but with a game this time. I have to go out and touch grass again tomorrow, so I might be a bit tired, but I'm going to try to not cancel this time. Hopefully, since it's pretty close together, the grass touching, I mean, I will not run out of energy immediately. Will you be okay? Oh yeah, I'll be fine. I will keep you guys updated if something happens and I do have to stop, but, you know. Anyway, I've been touching too much grass. Holidays be like that. My auntie's been wanting to spend time with me, so I've been, like, humoring her a little. I care a lot more about family time after everything that's happened this year, so I'm prioritizing it a little. But yeah, members tomorrow. Sunday will be when we actually watch our Christmas movies. Pretty sure I will not be canceling that. Monday will be Onimon, obviously. I haven't figured out what we'll be talking about yet. I'll get there. And as for the rest of the schedule, haven't gone that far yet. I will work on it, though. I promise. Okay. But yeah, for now, thank you guys
so much for choosing to spend time with me. I hope that you have a good rest of your time zone. And until I see you again, Yunotsu!